Hello, friends. This is Jeremy, reminding you that you can support this show and all the shows on the Duckfeed Network by going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You can get access to episodes early. You can get access to the Slack. You can get all sorts of cool benefits. So please go check that out. And we really appreciate it if you're already doing it. Now, enjoy this episode.
Professor, I know it's against the rules to have sex in the dorms, but Professor, I think I got a girl pregnant.
We can talk more tonight.
Professor, excuse me, I know you're going to your room, but I'm failing class, and the guidance counselor said that I'm going to get kicked out of the high school if I don't improve my grades, and I'm really scared.
We can talk more tonight.
Professor, I know this is kind of embarrassing, but I've got a lump on my nut.
We can talk more tonight.
Deal with it. Professor, out. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Professor, out. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Professor, out, 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 out.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I are covering X-Men Evolution. This is an animated series about the X-Men from the year 2000. If you missed the previous episode, you should go back and listen to it. Go ahead and download it twice because give us that sweet, sweet stat boost that makes us feel good as podcasters. This is the 2000 series X-Men that takes the X-Men, puts them in high school, and gives them weird characterizations. And yeah, man, Gary, I'm kind of excited to talk about these two episodes. But first, how are you today? Are you doing well, sir?
Doing all right. Did not get enough sleep. Having one of those days.
Oh man, yeah.
So
I had one of those weird nights where I usually read before I go to bed, and so I was sitting there reading, and I usually can just nod off in the middle of a book, like no problem. But for some reason, like I would feel myself getting to sleep, so like I would close the iPad and close my eyes, and they'd just be like instantly awake again. And I did that till about 2 a.m, and then woke up at 6 for work. So yay,
yeah, that's the worst. You also you every once in a while you have those nights where it's like you know that you probably slept, but you also kind of remember every moment. You know, of the night, like it's just like I was definitely up all night. I know I slept because I would remember literally 8 hours of nothing.
Yep.
But I was just in and out of sleep the entire time. This wasn't that. This was, as I alluded to in the last episode, I realized that I had actually unlocked a character in Gungeon. I did not realize I unlocked. And played my first run with him, thinking it was going to be a normal run. But I found the clone. Have you found that item yet?
No. I found a decoy that was like a thing of wood or something, but I think that's all I've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The decoy is great. You can steal with it. But the clone is an item in Gungeon where do you mind if I tell you what an item does?
Not at all.
On that level of spoilers?
Dude, I'm on the Wikipedia. Like I'm not giving no fucks about the story in Gungeon.
So the clone, when you die, you start the entire run over with all of your items.
Oh, word.
So
that's awesome.
It's like, it's an amazing item. It's like absolutely like S rank. One of the best items of the game. And kind of, once you can kind of reliably beat the game, what you do with clone runs is you either go after challenge stuff, or you just go through the game and then die and then go through it again to see how, like, nuts your run can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the clone on the first floor, so I was like, fuck, like, I'm going to be up pretty late unless I decide to put this down. And I was just not tired, so I ended up completing the run and staying up really late.
Nice.
So it was fun. It was just because I stayed up doing something I liked, but it meant that I did not get quite enough sleep.
Before I fell into the Gungeon hole, I was playing a lot of Isaac, and I had just recently done my first what do they call it? A rerun? Is that what they call it when you? And I think you have to do like 4 of those to unlock an item. In a row, and I managed to make that happen, and I was very proud of myself because I was by the end of it, I was like, I did not know, because you lose some items, but then you keep a lot of them, so I like did not know all of what I had, and I was like, I just hope everything dies at one time.
Yep, and usually they do, because those will become very powerful. There's a fun so there are seeds you can put in that game. And one of the things that I like is there's all these Easter egg seeds, and a lot of them are different challenge modes. But there's one, if you put in basement as a word, you just play the first floor over and over.
Oh, weird.
And it never moves on from it. And I've messed around with that before, because the first floor is very easy, but you're just getting 2 items at least per floor ad infinitum. So you eventually just have almost everything in the game. and you're steamrolling the easiest things in the game. Like, it's fun to one shot, Monstro.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
stuff like that happens. So, I like that kind of thing where you can just kind of really stack up items. We're not talking about items.
No, we were talking about X-Men
Nope.
and stacking them up like cordwood. Wait a minute, what am I talking about?
Behind Xavier's. Nobody know about Gambit Shack. So we're talking about episodes 2 and 3 of the cartoon. The first one, which is called X Impulse. These titles
do not make
Strategy
sense.
X Impulse. I was like, oh, sure, they're going to introduce Quicksilver. Like, I don't know why, because I think there's a DC speedster named Impulse, and that's why I thought so. But so this is written by Gary Graham, Craig Kyle, and Greg Johnson. Came out November 11th, 2000. In it, a 15-year-old Kitty Pryde wakes up one day and finds herself able to walk through objects. She tries to ignore it, but finds that hard when she's approached by Jean Grey and a mutant troublemaker who both say they know.
I'm assuming that this got cut off when I was copying and pasting that, so my bad, everybody.
I
don't know what happened there.
that's accurate. It's just terse.
Oh no, that's literally the description on the Wikipedia. That's it. It just stops there. Cool, excellent. Okay.
Well, good thing we're here to further explain.
So we start on a house. There's a storm brewing. The camera zooms in on this young woman who is dreaming about flying, and then she begins to fall. And when she wakes up, she realizes she is somehow in the basement now, and she doesn't necessarily understand how she got there. Immediately, Cerebro picks this up because it's been detecting 15-year-old dreams for quite a long time now for reasons that we don't really need to get into on this podcast. But, I'm sure there's a podcast called The Xavier Files out there that talks extensively about Xavier's
just imagine,
crimes.
Like a post-credit scene where Xavier has like a dial on Cerebro. And he just turns it from 14 to 15 and kind of smiles to himself, and then it starts scanning 15-year-old dreams.
It's not an age dial. It's a dial that goes between Moira McTaggart, Jean Grey, and Kitty Pryde. Like,
those are their faces. So Cerebro detects it. The parents look up and see her bedding stuck in the ceiling is falling through. So they're trying to check in on her at this point. So I actually kind of like this with like Kitty dreaming of falling and then falling through.
I do too. Yeah.
Like this is a good illustration of her not controlling her power as well.
Yeah. At least they didn't go with the Astonishing X-Men where she has an orgasm and falls through the floor. So
I'm glad they didn't do that too. Yeah. Did not need to see that. Yeah.
We go back to Kurt, who is running late for school. And as he's running to school, some like weird music, it's like kind of like light ska. It's like, I don't know, like ska for elevators, maybe? I don't know. Like, or like ska for people that don't want to wear checkered pants, but still kind of like the music. I don't know what this is, but as he's running in, Mrs. Darkholme, who we all know as Mystique now, confronts him and is like, hey, you shouldn't be late. And really looks like she's about to like torture this dude before Scott comes in and rescues him.
Yeah. But Scott shows up and says, hey, the professor was asking about you. There's this little comedy beat where he's just like, stopped for a breakfast biscuit again, huh? Or something like that. He's like, it is an addiction. And I don't care what he says, but it's a really weird little beat that is like, I don't know. The idea of Kurt Wagner's like famous addiction to breakfast biscuits is very strange to me as a little side thing.
This is probably around the time McDonald's rolled out those breakfast burritos, and I was addicted to those guys for a couple of minutes. So I can maybe see this.
Yeah. Those were not bad. Like, I love how whenever I think about McDonald's and Taco Bell, and like, you don't eat either of those foods really, but like when I think about just like the finest 2 breakfast burritos $1.50 can buy, which is like undeniably true, but also like a really weirdly damning statement. Because that was their thing, right? They were like dirt cheap.
Oh, they were super cheap. Yeah, that was the reason I got addicted to them, because I had to save all my money for cigarettes and alcohol and drugs. Like that was can't afford food. I've got a lifestyle to lead over here.
I'm saving up for cigarettes.
We get back over to Kitty, who is trying to sneak out of the house, and her mom busts her, and she's been grounded. Like, her parents are like, we don't know what's happening to you, and you don't need to leave. And Kitty gets into this, as we mentioned in the first episode of the X-Men Evolution coverage, she gets into her like, whatever, like, I think that this is unfair, and kind of goes into that, like, that Valley Girl language, and her mom just eventually is like, I'm tired of listening to you talk like somebody I don't like, so please leave my house, and I will lie to your dad if you just stop talking and leave right now.
Yeah, boy. But lets him, let's her go and stuff. And it's just kind of like interesting that showing her parents. Like, I actually like the arc with her parents in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not hateful. They apologize at the end.
Yeah.
For not understanding. Like, they're not understanding, which is understandable. So we're back to the Blackbird. Xavier and Jean are flying to meet Kitty and someone else who Xavier's real coy about. Like, there's someone else there, but I'll take care of it. And Jean's like, I'm doing this. I'm missing my midterms for this. And it's like, because initially I was like, why is Xavier putting them in high school? Maybe just for classic high school reasons. Like, they need an education. The idea that, like, the X-Men even really need to know algebra is something that I think is worth interrogating.
Sure.
But fine. You can say that. But then to have him miss, like, the most, the second most important test of the term, just to go back you up when you go talk to somebody, is really fucking weird, Xavier.
Yeah, you're my one
Child Protective Services.
You're my one young girl stand-ins, and this is a young girl mutant. So I need to smash the two of you together so that you can convince her to come live at my house.
Can you convince her to come move?
Yeah,
because they definitely live at the mansion. Yeah, this is very weird. And then this fucking, like, the motorcycle themes.
Yes.
What is this? Like, so a motorcycle is driving down the road, and Wolverine smells him. It cuts over to the motorcycle again, and then when it cuts back to Wolverine, he's on the roof.
Yes.
Like he teleported up to the roof while this guitar music plays, and he's like, "Uh-oh, Sabretooth is taking his motorcycle to me. I'm gonna suit up and bike off to get him." Like, this Sabretooth Wolverine subplot in this is the dumbest shit.
There is that.
It's like my worst, like, least favorite iteration of this conflict.
When he's on top of the parking garage or whatever, or on top of the roof, he says Sabretooth, and then from a zillion miles away, Sabretooth is like Wolverine, and then we literally get like the Monster Energy wow guitar noise. It's just fucking hysterical. It's not good, fam.
Boy.
Not good.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And Wolverine speeds past Kurt and Scott, who are just chilling, and I think it's Kurt that looks over and says, "That man has some serious attitude."
Yeah.
It's so fucking dumb. And of course they decide, because they're best friends now, to go chase Wolverine in Cyclops' sports car. He's got like this cool looking, like, kind of retro convertible thing, which, again, he's like 16, 17, maybe? Like, I guess he could be 18. Like, are they in their senior year of high school? I don't quite understand. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
I don't know where he is in this. It's, one of his cars. Like, this is stylish. They take it out. We go back to Kitty. Kitty gets shoved into a locker by some mean girls. Again, me not understanding this Valley Girl thing. Like, Kitty should have been a nerd. Why didn't you draw her, like, why didn't you make her seem like a nerd?
Yeah.
Don't make her indistinguishable from all these high school girls. So mean girls shove her into a locker. She's banging on the door. She's trapped in there, which is a real nightmare.
Do you ever get stuff in a locker in your high school career? I never had that happen to me.
No. No, and I was picked on. Instead, men hit me.
Okay.
So that's what happened being stuffed in a locker. I got punched from time to time. So it was not a locker stuffing sitch.
My step cousin got turned upside down into a trash can in high school one time. And I wasn't there for that. We heard it through the family grapevine, and pretty much everybody thought it was hilarious except for the step cousin in question.
Yeah. I did, when I got picked on in school, I did get a series of wedgies.
Okay.
So that did happen to me as a real thing. Not the atomic wedgie, of course, but the regular ones.
Well, I assume I would not be speaking to you if it was the atomic wedgie.
No, I would no longer be here. I'd be just like
you wouldn't have the confidence to podcast. What are you talking about?
I'd have to be podcasting from beyond the grave. So the at the school, this you have notes as a ne'er-do-well, which I like. Is spray painting lockers, and the way this guy looks before he talks, for a second I was like, oh great, it's Gambit.
Yeah,
like I had that really thought.
Yeah,
I was like, yes. And as he sprays by, Kitty hears him, tries to get out, and comes through the door and kind of body tackles him, like walks through the door,
mm-hmm.
And gets spray paint on his face. And so he's like, did you see what you just did? And she's like, I just got out. He's like, no, you walked through the wall. I'm just like you. And he uses his power. We're going to find out this is Avalanche. I really don't like how Avalanche's eyes roll back in his head whenever he uses his powers.
Well, it's a
really tiny thing. It looks so stupid.
He's got an OG is way there, Gary. That's the. I mean, he's just rolling him back to get that good mind footage. You know what I'm saying? He's in the spank bank right now.
But he does so and shakes all the lockers and they all open through this.
And she's
like, oh, this is a cheap power.
Yeah. Good job. Good guy. Jean could do this. Like, wait till Jean gets her Phoenix powers, right? And like, she could do that for Rock Your World.
Cancel season 5.
But she's not impressed. Kitty's not impressed. And she's just like, you're a freak and I want you to leave me alone, and just runs away. And then he has this line of like, you can run, but you can't hide because I'm going to rock your world. And I'm like, excuse me? You don't know her name, dog.
Avalanche in this is really weird because like, he's definitely being a creeper. He's a piece of shit creeper, right? He also, again, like tantalizing hints that this is going to be a more sophisticated or good show than initially seems. When he's making the argument to her later, like, we'll get to it, I was like, this is cool. Like this makes sense as a character. Like, I actually like this. This is a compelling argument for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which you don't hear very often, right? Mm-hmm. But him being like, I'm going to rock your world, like this, the kind of sexual overtones of this is gross.
Yes.
So because of this, Kitty arrives late to gym. She's like, oh, I had locker trouble, and the mean girls laugh.
Yes.
And the dude has immediately gone to the roof to spy on her
and brought his 2 henchmen. Like, give me my 2 shitty friends. Meet me on the roof. Is this Persona 5? Is that what's happening right now? Are they planning a heist?
So the henchmen are there and they want to break into the principal's office to get some test answers. And they're just like, why don't you just put a hole to get in Avalanche? They don't call him Avalanche. And he's like, well, then they would know that I was there and they would change the test answers. And I was like, what are the fucking stakes for using mutant powers in this world? Like,
not that you would arrest it and be sent to like Science Academy to get dissected or anything.
Why aren't you going to a black site? Where is William Stryker? Like, if you earthquake a hole in the roof of this, they might change the test answers? Excuse me? Like, what are this goddamn stakes, X-Men Evolution? You're killing me. You're killing me.
This also, like, getting the test answers feels like a very 1980s, like, you know, not rom-com, but like a comedy movie, right? Like a high school comedy movie. Like, it feels so dumb. Like, is he going to pop in the women's locker to you and get like 2 seconds of boob shot on the screen because it's 1984 and that's what they needed to do?
Oh yeah. Bow, bow. Bow, bow.
He has the idea like, oh, that girl down there has like, you know, she can phase through things. I mean, he doesn't say that, but like, I'm going to use her to get me into that room. Meanwhile, the girls are having to do the long jump, which is not something I ever did in high school, but sure, whatever. And she's not good at it and gets made fun of for not being very good at it.
One of the girls like, let me show you how to do the long jump, like in a real like mic drop way. I'm like, that's very specific.
Look, some people only have one thing, Gary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people pretend to be smart on the internet, and some people can do a long jump. That's their thing.
In high school, the most popular girls are the ones that could long jump. So she goes to do the long jump, but Avalanche, his eyes roll back in his head, and he causes like a rift.
His eyes roll back and his hand goes into his pocket.
Yeah, his pocket. And through the power of his mighty quickgasm, like, causes a rift in the ground, which like knocks this girl on her ass and pulls a big pile of sand on her. Yep. Or puts a big pile of sand on her, which is very weird. It's very specific. I didn't know he had this level of control. Do this kind of bank shot. You know,
who like, what is a mutant power right now? Like, what? Like,
I don't know.
It took me a while to figure out that this was Avalanche. Actually, like, it took me till they actually said, like, I think I looked it up and it was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what powers is he showing me here? Because like opening lockers and then also like moving some sand around. I just had no idea. I was like, is he a telekinetic dude? Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. Yep. So he does so, and he kind of winks at her like, hey, I'm the enemy of your enemy is my enemy. So we are friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you've got the notes here, and this This is not a helpful note, Jeremy. I looked away from the screen and Kitty had some sort of incident with a bowl of fruit. Period.
It's
Jean
true.
shows
It's what
up
happens.
and asks if she's all right.
I looked down at something, like my phone buzzed, and I looked back up, and like there's a bowl of fruit on the floor, and she's holding a banana, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking rewind this. I'm just gonna write the notes. This is 23 minutes I'm spending on this episode, Gary, plus notes. This is a lot of work.
So just so
this isn't Bonfire Side Chat. You know, I'm not going to do any research. Goddamn.
Just listeners, just so you know, something happened with fruit.
Some sort of incident. Then, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, the spaghetti squash incident. The Jean Grey, Jean Grey's asked if she's all right, and they're having the like, you have a gift. It's a curse. No, it's a gift. Actually, it's only a curse if you want it to be. Look at my power, and she puts the. This is when they go to the theater, because there's a isn't it right? Because this is where Kitty takes a mask from the wall, like an African mask, puts it on her face, and Jean goes, "There's no need for masks."
I thought that was a little bit later, but yeah, that definitely happened.
That might happen. She has the same conversation with her twice,
yes,
variations on it,
and
it's very weird.
That could be where the fruit came from. This could be Chekhov's fruit, so I don't know. Maybe it isn't.
It could be some prop fruit. Yeah.
But yeah, Kitty just freaks out. Like she's not ready to. Jean does her like telekinetic thing, and Kitty's like, "You're a freak too. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And Lance gets Jean to go away, and then goes to
Lance's Avalanche.
Lance's Avalanche. Yes,
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, I did not know at this point in my notes that it was Avalanche.
No, I was clarifying for listeners.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I think we referred to him as a near-dwell earlier. So,
which is, I mean, that's probably one of
he
the.
He never does well. Yeah. The Bayside, the Bayville near-dwell.
And so Avalanche goes to chase down Kitty and to make friends, and it works. Like he kind of does the opposite thing of Jean, of like, yeah, you're different and you're just like me, but that's okay. And like but it happens to work this time. Like she's feeling pretty sensitive.
The specific thing he says that I really like, again, that is like a cogent philosophy for the Brotherhood. He says like, the only way to survive is if you accept what they say about you, which is that you are a freak, like you are a monster, and live with it. Be the thing that they think you are, be the thing that they hate. Yes. Right? Like, and he says something really good where he says something like, no one, like, I can't remember what it is, like, no one's ever going to control you unless you let them, or something like that. Like, unless you decide to. And it's like, I don't, agree with that as a philosophy personally, but it is a philosophy people have in real life. Like, I was like, oh, this feels like a teenage viewpoint, and you get kind of shadows of like, maybe the show this will turn into, hopefully, where it actually handles that teenness pretty well. Cause I was like, this is a very good, like, teen nihilism, like Bender from the Breakfast Club kind of attitude. Like, if you're going to treat me like a piece of shit criminal, I'm going to be a piece of shit criminal. Go fuck yourself. You don't own me. Like, and I thought that was good. Like, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Like, for this guy being sexual, it's nasty, but his actual philosophy and stuff, I think, is cool.
You think Avalanche is reading like some sort of version of Catcher in the Rye that like Magneto wrote back in the 1960s or something? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So that Magneto wrote in order to kill the rest of the Beatles. Catcher in the Rye 2, 3, and 4. Get the rest of them.
The Catcher in the Rye universe, the movie series.
Yeah, the CCU.
I think we just call it the Crew, Gary. It's just the Crew.
Yeah, it's time for the Crew. Something like that though. He's got very like Catcher in the Rye vibes, for this. And I like and the Bender stuff. Like he's wearing the jean jacket. Like it makes me think of Bender.
Gotcha. So Jean calls into Xavier, who tells her like you have to keep following Kitty, no matter what the obstacle. And then they hang up, and there's this weird. I guess this is a funny joke, is what they were going for.
This is a joke about wheelchairs.
Yeah, here. Like this is supposed to be funny. Like he's on top of the like. Okay, number one, how did he get up here? Like to make this joke funny? Like why didn't he get down the same way? But like he's at the top of a set of stairs and looking down, and like, and sometimes these obstacles can be difficult. And I'm like, I don't like.
It's worse than that. Like it's something like, so in my memory, and this could be wrong. I haven't. I watched it, but I too have had the sin of looking at my phone while watching the show. I thought he was at the bottom of stairs, and I thought he said something like, some obstacles can't be solved with mutant powers or something. Like, it's not just like, there are bad obstacles. He says something about, like, specifically contrasting obstacles that you can solve through heroics, basically, and obstacles that you can't solve through wheels. You know, it's very weird. It is very weird. And if it's supposed to be a comedy thing, the beats are all wrong. Like the timing and music and everything does not make it seem like it's supposed to be funny to me.
Yeah, this is no good.
Bizarre.
If you've already forgotten about our B plot, I would not blame you, but we're going back to it now, where Scott and Kurt are chasing Wolverine. They lose him, and then they stop the car and look up, and he's just on top of a parking garage. And then Sabretooth like busts through some concrete on his motorcycle, and I'm going to give credit to Autumn on this one. She was like, "Why is there a flag on the back of Sabretooth's bike?" And I'm like, "I do not know. I have no idea why there's just a giant like bicycle flag like you would do if you were 12 or 13 and running around Derry, Maine, being in a Stephen King novel. Just so fucking random to have this thing on the back of a motorcycle."
Yeah, he also has a huge rat tail.
Yes,
that's hanging off the back of his head, which I think is very funny. We've seen such things before.
I used to have a rat tail, Gary. I don't know if I can confess that to you publicly or not, but I definitely rocked the rat tail when I was in like middle school or something. It was terrible.
I definitely believe that. Yeah. I've seen that picture of you with the mustache and stuff. Like, the
terrible
the version of you now doesn't go back there, but like that is the middle step. So,
Sabretooth like tries to run Wolverine down. Wolverine chops off the front tire, which sends Sabretooth flying over the edge of the parking garage and directly on top of Scott Summers' cool car. So Scott's going to have to do some extra dishes to
earn allowance.
To get his next car.
Yeah. And then Sabretooth still wants to fight and stuff and starts throwing cars at Wolverine and says this: "One must perish by the other's hand. It is our destiny." And then Wolverine says something like, "I don't believe in that philosophy crap." And I was like, what is this? Like, that's dumb. That doesn't sound like Sabretooth.
Yeah.
What is this destiny shit?
Was this like, something from the comics? Like, this rang a bell with me where like, for a while it felt like Sabretooth and Wolverine were like locked in some sort of weird battle where like one of them had to kill the other or something because of some prophecy or something, but I could literally just be making that shit up. Like, there's so much X-Men jumbled around in my brain that I really don't know.
I don't think so. It does not sound like it to me.
Okay.
So, maybe, I don't remember. Regardless of which, Scott and Kurt show up to distract Sabretooth. Sabretooth gets away in an elevator, and Wolverine is like, "Hey, stay out of my business. Don't go fighting murder knife people."
Yeah. You guys are fucking like 16 years old. Please don't follow me around the city when I'm driving.
In your sports car.
I go to strip clubs.
Why are you not
being
supervised? Yeah. Is there not a rule at this
Why are you not at school? Kitty's at school.
Yeah. Fucking truancy X. Like, speaking of Kitty meets up with Lance and says like, how do you control your power and stuff? And he kind of helps her with this, which helps her break into that office. And she's really excited about it. And while this is happening outside, Kitty's parents are meeting up with Jean, who's in full uniform.
Yes.
With Xavier. And I love her parents stonewalling her about this. Like, they're just like, "Please let us in and we can talk about last night." And it's like, how the fuck do you know about last night? Last night is none of your business.
Yeah, stay the fuck out of my life. What are you doing?
Yeah. Are you digging through our trash? Like, what are you doing? Like,
why do
you know about this?
I want to take a quick step back too, because when Avalanche like shows Kitty how to use her powers, that's the most mutant education we've seen in this show so far. It's from fucking Avalanche,
Professor Avalanche.
Small crimes and petty misdemeanors is his professor, is his class at the X Mansion or at the Brotherhood of Evil. But yeah, I also like Kitty's parents being like, "Who the fuck are you? How do you know our business? Like, please leave us alone. None of this has to do anything with you." And eventually they just leave. They're like, "Okay, we're going to go try to find Kitty."
Yep. So Lance wants to steal the answers and change people's grades in there, but Kitty's like, "Oh, this was for this? Like, I thought you were teaching me something. This is just a cheat. Like, I feel shitty." And Lance is like, "Well, these tests are like a way that they're keeping us down, man. Like, this is the test. The standardized tests are bullshit." And it's, it's some teen horse shit logic.
Yeah.
But I love that he pulls it out because that feels real to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Kitty's dad barges in at this point because they're looking for Kitty. Kitty's been missing. I think we forgot to mention that. or hasn't shown up when she was supposed to.
So of course they go to the principal's office first.
Yeah, she's probably in trouble. So Avalanche tosses a bookshelf on him, grabs Kitty, and breaks down a wall to get away.
Yes.
To try to.
This is when her dad has this moment of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to force you into this life, or into any of these decisions. Like, I don't think that you're a bad person and all this other stuff, which feels a bit unearned, but also but also fine. Like, it was kind of over emotional compared to what I was expecting.
We just didn't get enough build up for it. And if they had taken that time and cut out that Wolverine subplot, we would have, right? Like, her parents never came off as abusive. I thought they were pretty understandably confused, but I can imagine a version, like the beginning step and the last step are good. It's just the middle that's missing. It's a very Game of Thrones season 8 kind of thing. Where like, I like the idea of him eventually kind of changing because, we're so used to like just a bigoted parent in the X-Men universe, that is just like kind of monolithically bigoted, and him kind of realizing like, no, maybe I was wrong. I actually kind of like as a beat.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't totally earned.
So at this point, Avalanche kind of starts losing his mind a little bit. He literally starts tearing this entire school apart, and then drags Kitty outside. But of course, she phases, and he gets real mad at her and drops just a ton of rocks on her, which seems like an
really
escalation here. Like you just like tore a school down and tried to kill a young woman because she wouldn't walk outside with you for some reason. Like, hang on.
By the time Xavier is done with the school, they're going to think that it was a school for propane tanks. Like there were so many propane tanks. There's like a whole class in it. Or
it's
something.
Like is it Hank Hill? Hank on the Hill? Or what's
Hank Hill? King of the Hill.
King of the Hill, yeah. But it's like propane and propane related explosions. That's like the name of Xavier's like go-to.
He shows up wearing a fake mustache in a van.
I can't believe I couldn't remember King of the Hill. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, Hank of the Hill.
It's Hank of the Hill, everybody.
Hello.
Bye, Hank.
Yeah, goodbye. So, as he's destroying the school, Xavier tells Jean and says, like, keep her mind clear, to help and use her power to save everyone. It really feels like Xavier should have stepped in at this point and maybe like made the Avalanche go to sleep.
Yeah, just or frozen time or any one of a number of things that Xavier's abilities allow him to do.
I was trying to think of why he might not be, and I think that the only hand wave I can think of is that he wants them to learn for themselves. Like it's a weird throwing them into the pool kind of thing, but I don't know.
I think
real people might be
honestly.
hurt.
I think this is way more dangerous than throwing somebody into a pool. This is I mean, is the pool full of sharks and poison water? Did Wolverine design this pool? Is that what's happening?
No one will swim through our pool. People keep getting in through the pool entrance.
Is the pool full of other avalanches? Is that what's happening? Everybody's trapped because even though Jean can create this like protective dome using her telekinesis, she's still trapped underneath this. But Kitty rolls through and is able to phase everyone through the rubble, and everybody's super good friends now. And I have this note in here, except the people that were in the theater arts building, which is where they were, because like if there was literally anybody else at this school, like they did.
The actual reality of Bayville is that a lot of people wake up one day with no memory of having a kid, but a fully decorated kid's room. Because Xavier rolls through town, like just like erasing his kids' murder mistakes from the high school. So it's like a thief simulator when you go through you break into people's houses and they all have children's rooms, but there are no children in the game. It's just weird. Like that.
Yeah, that's very strange. Our epilogue to this is Avalanche being confronted by Raven Darkholm, who's like, "Hey, you just destroyed your school. Why don't you come hang out in mine? And we're going to name you Avalanche from now on because of your powers." And he's like, "Sure, lady I've never met before. I don't have any parents to sign any transfer paperwork, but yeah, let's do it. I'll go to this other high school."
Yep. And now you are mine.
Yeah.
So again, both sides got to recruit in both of these episodes. Next episode we're talking about, this is called Rogue Recruit, written by Stephen E. Gordon, Craig Kyle, and Greg Johnson.
Just to correct you, it's directed and then written by. So yeah.
Thank you. Aired on November 18th, year 2000. Rogue Recruit. Powers emerge! After being kept in the dark about her powers for years, a young female mutant touches a fellow student and absorbs his strength and his memories and his life. afraid and confused and unable to differentiate her memories from the absorbed.
Okay,
so also ends in a weird line.
The official fan wiki, number 1, has spelling errors all over the place, and number 2 has terrible summary. So I'm going to have to get these from different places, apparently. I did not realize that when I was just copying and pasting and not reading the descriptions whatsoever. So my bad. We start out at a basically like a high school dance club, which I was never cool enough to do, and never cool enough to go into. And even if I had cool friends that tried to get me to do this, I would have been terrified to do it because I would have felt like I was not cool enough to be dancing with anybody. So yeah. And like this weird 2000 era rock music with full lyrics for some reason is playing, and Rogue, and I like Rogue's design. You mentioned this in the first episode of our Evolution coverage, but Rogue is full goth, and she looks pretty cool. I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, I think this is a good interpretation, and that's what Rogue would act like. You know, like her power of all the X-Men is definitely one of the ones that is the most curse like. You know, and her, you know, she's always set up in contrast to Cyclops, who like learned to manage it, and her who couldn't. You know, she's the tragic kind of version of that, and it would make sense that she would go goth.
We meet Cody along with his unnamed best friend, who is encouraging Cody and his redneck accent to go and talk to Rogue because he's been kind of obsessing about her lately, and he doesn't even know her name yet. Eventually, he goes over and kind of awkwardly asks her to dance, and she's like, "No, I'm just kind of here. Actually, you know what? Sure, I'll go dance. What could it hurt? One dance." Which is kind of cool. Like that's like you could tell he's let down when she says no at first, and she kind of feels like, oh well, I mean, this guy he's not a shitbag. So maybe I'll just go dance with him. So,
and then we do a little pan across the whole group dancing, doing their weird like 2-frame little like like dance, which is very funny.
I had a coworker that we do these like customer events or trade shows or what have you, and we take customers out or go meet other vendors out or whatever at night. And typically it would end up at a karaoke place or someplace playing music, and all of these Cajun motherfuckers like to dance. And my coworker, who, just to picture this in your mind, like the most starched jeans you could possibly starch, like, right? Like just fucking bricks of jeans, giant rodeo belt buckle, big old rodeo, cowboy hat. And he knew like, he knows the Cajun 2-step, and that's it. Like, and I hung out with this dude for like 5 years doing these trade shows, like 4 or 5 times a year, and would watch this dude dance with chicks, and like literally just that Cajun 2-step, and that was it. That was all he knew. And every time I see something like this, I'm like, yep, that's my buddy Kevin.
It's very good. We cut away from Kevin to a blind woman sitting on a chair having visions of Rogue, and sees Rogue touching a boy, and like kind of like, oh, don't touch him. And then we cut back over to the dance floor, where Cody has fallen over on Rogue, which can't remember how this happens, but just kind of like, duh.
Well, his buddy is like, get closer, and pushes him, and like, the dude just trips over himself, and then like
he hip checks him into her, which is really weird.
Thanks, bud.
Maybe if they fall on top of each other, they'll start making out.
Come on, that was second base, man. I helped you out with that. Like, dude, I'm in a fucking coma. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, we're very in public. we're like, stop trying to second base people in the middle of the dance floor. So he touches her arm trying to help her up, and they show she absorbs his powers. I do not really like the visual effect on this. It feels cheap.
Yes,
to me. But she gets his life story and collapses. He collapses. He's got some amnesia, and we go to the intro music. They do these cold opens in this the show, which I like.
And I do like that she kind of wakes up and she's like, what am I? Who am I? And there's going to be a running like through line of this is when she starts absorbing these powers, she absorbs all of their memories. And just like you mentioned, like it's a curse. Like it's actually causing her identity issues. Like she can't get it straight of who she is in her head, which is very cool to do in like what is otherwise like a relatively cheap X-Men cartoon. Like exploring that a little bit is very cool. We come back from the intro. Cody's friend is trying to wake Cody up, and Rogue just jets, and they try to stop her at the door, but she has absorbed Cody's football powers, because that's how mutant powers work, and just like stiff arms him out of the way. And the guy is like, I thought only Cody had moves like that. And I'm like, man, have you not watched any NFL? Or I mean, just
it was pretty basic tackle.
Mississippi's in the SEC. Like if you're not a Mississippi State fan, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Jeremy, when you were young, did you used to make up your own like superheroes?
Yeah.
So that was a big part of my childhood, and my friend Derek, who I've talked about a lot on the network, did that as well. And, we were kids and we were like showing off our drawings and stuff. And he had a character that was based on an action figure. He had an action figure that was like a little football action figure that he got. And he had a character he drew a lot named Football Man, who is basically Cody in this, like a superhero based on doing football stuff. That was very funny. And I couldn't help but think of like Rogue absorbing Football Man's powers. When I saw
that's
this.
very funny. Yeah.
It was cute.
All of a sudden, you can kick a punt 45 yards. All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be useful in combat.
I would love to have the superpower to run. Like, I can't really do it now.
Like just a straight
cool
up speedster, or just to maintain a jog for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, just like a good jog for 10 plus minutes. Okay. You know, that'd be cool.
Gary, you can have that superpower for just the low monthly subscription of walking outside for a little while.
Hey man, I walk outside a lot. It doesn't work. My powers are not taking. My mutant powers aren't activating. I need a bald man to come up and convince me to do it, or send one of his students to do so.
This sounds like an episode of Punk'd that I cannot wait to pitch to Ashton Kutcher.
have like somebody pull up in with sunglasses and a convertible, be like, "Hey, sport, like the car, get in." What the fuck? You want to drive it? Come with me. Excuse me.
I never really liked that Punk show, but Autumn had me watch an episode of where they tried to get Neil Patrick Harris. And and Neil Patrick Harris, like, they've got like all of his belongings like strewn out on the ground, and like they're trying to make him think he lost his house, and he is just the most laid back dude. He's like, "Don't worry," like Ashton's there, and he's like, "Don't worry, Ashton, it's cool. I'll figure it out. Like, no big deal." Like, he's just not taking the bait at all. Fucking Neil Patrick Harris is a legend.
I love that dude. That was very funny.
You think he'd be a good Cannonball in the future X-Men movies?
Oh, that's interesting. Like, yeah, I think as like an adult Cannonball, if they decide not to go for kid Cannonball.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, he looks the part.
Yeah. I had never really thought about that until like just now, so.
Yeah, I can see it. He has a physical resemblance, and he's a good actor. So the blind lady, we go back to, this is Destiny, just so we don't know that yet, but just so we can refer to her by name, who is also Rogue's mom, is on the phone. Talking to somebody we'll later find out to be Mystique, saying like she did everything she could to stop Rogue from finding out her powers, but unfortunately she did. Yeah,
and this included convincing Rogue she had some sort of skin condition so that she didn't accidentally touch anybody. That's why Rogue is all gothed up with the cool vampire outfit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got corrosive skin.
Yes,
it's not a power though.
It's not cool, and don't tell anybody.
Yeah, please keep the secret, skin secrets.
Here's an Anne Rice novel; it'll help you out.
My little Lord of the Damned, my little Queen of the Damned. So we go back to the X Mansion where a ninja is sneaking in. Into the air vents. Storm catches the ninja, and Storm decides to flood the school.
Yeah,
to stop this ninja and freeze him.
And of course, this is a test. This was all set up by Wolverine, or set up by Xavier. The ninja in question is Wolverine, which we learn because all of his clothes get basically ripped off, and like he pops his claws at some point and starts attacking stuff, to the point that Xavier has to stop and be like, "Hey, we can't afford to replace this right now.
Please stop.
I gave you a $40,000 motorcycle yesterday, and you've been at work for 2 days. Like, please do not destroy the danger room, okay?"
Him hiring a security consultant, or having Wolverine do like security consultant work is very weird to me. I don't know what's so weird, why that's so weird, but it is strange.
I've always liked that conceit in a TV show or whatever, when they get somebody to break in to prove, to show the weaknesses. Like they hire the hacker or the guy that used to be the biggest thief in the world or whatever to show the weaknesses in the security. Having Wolverine do it, I think, is fucking hilarious. Like, Wolverine's not necessarily known for his stealthy entrances, and like, it's just very funny to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. It's a very strange move. What are you exactly doing here, Wolverine? Like, you're back because of Sabretooth, but like, okay, like, well, now do this while you're here, please. While watching this demo, Nightcrawler says the demo, it was like, that was tight.
Because it was the year 2000, and if you weren't around in the year 2000, everything was tight.
Hella tight. So Wolverine's like, "Hey, that was too easy. Specifically the vents. Let's electrify them or get some poison gas going on." And everyone nods solemnly, thinking about all the dead teenagers and all the strange houses with children's rooms, but no memories of parents that will happen.
Just picturing Toad future. Showing up just like a couple of weeks after this instead of before this, and being like, "Oh, there's Toad. Yep. He's dead now."
Yeah. What happened if Toad falls in our human-sized bug zapper?
Truly,
Storm says maybe not murder gas. Yeah, exactly. Maybe not murder gas. Maybe knockout gas. Kitty's a little freaked out by this. Mm-hmm. We get there and Nightcrawler teleports into her room to try to make her feel better, but she runs away. And Kitty is sad. She's like, "Oh, I thought, maybe she's not into my type and stuff." And this is like a nice little thing from the comics. Like this, Kitty being scared of Kurt, was like the beginning of their friendship. Yeah. Like they're great friends in the comics. This is how it started. Adding the little romantic angle. Like I kept thinking like, Kurt, show a little self-awareness here. Like you've only had the image inducer for a couple days. Like,
Well, he's full blue at this point.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Like,
he's not
and teleporting around with a thing of popcorn. Like he's coming on a little too strong, right?
Like I'm glad that he's having fun, but also he shouldn't just be like, I'm gonna flood all the basements in school.
Yeah,
like that's for Storm to do. The Xavier shows up and says, "We need the whole crew." He says something like, he's like, "I'm gonna need the full X-Men because it's the weekend."
No compunction about pulling these kids out of school before, but I guess, I don't know, you think it's Memorial Day weekend? And he's like, "We got 4 days. We got to go find all the mutants."
Yeah, we got to hurry up because sometimes school is important.
Yep. And he says they have to go to Mississippi to find, I think this is where he says, like, "We've got a rogue" or something. And it's real fucking hammy. But they need to go to Mississippi to find her because she's discovered her powers and she's causing some problems. And we see these scenes of Rogue running away and like people having to drive off the road to avoid her, and she's just freaking out. And then we go to the Blackbird taking off from the X Mansion, and Kurt's driving it under Cyclops' direct supervision and doing a pretty good job of it, considering he's probably only done this like 3 times before. So yay. And I love this little detail where Cyclops says that he logged their flight plan with the FAA. It's just like number one, like that's pure fucking Cyclops. Like that's so fucking hysterical. But number two, like, what are mutants in this world? Who are the X-Men?
We're going to take our experimental superjet on this flight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. The first part of that. Can you say that again? Like, you're going to take your what on this flight plan?
Can you show me like who your pilot's license? And Kurt's in the background like, "I did it yesterday."
Yeah. well, sir, our pilot is 15. He is a mutant. Over. Just like, hold, wait a minute.
Mr. FAA has a lot of problems with this.
This is the air traffic control is going to have an issue.
Yep.
With this.
We get some teenage drama where Kitty tells Jean that Cyclops is super cute, and Jean is like, "Well, not really, but I guess if you look at him, kind of he is." And Kurt hears this and gets upset that nobody's paying attention to his blue furry ass, so is like, "I'm going to teleport outside the plane and do a dance for everybody," because he's the most awkward teenager on the show.
Yeah, he's extremely weird teenager. But of course he almost blows off because it is a supersonic experimental jet that's flying into the future. So he teleports back and lands on Kitty's lap, which he controls where to teleport. It's not an accident. But she gets mad and says to stay away from her. Mystique's taken a private jet to meet with Rogue's mom, Irene, aka Destiny. Demands to know, kind of what happened, and is very mad that she lost Rogue. They clearly have a previous relationship, and says it's very important that we find Rogue, and it's even more important that Xavier not find her. So Irene says no, she's actually heading home, or what she thinks is home.
From there, Xavier takes the X-Men to the hospital, and instead of like going into the hospital and just like examining himself, he says, "Oh, I got to get somebody on the inside," and convinces Jean to dress up like a nurse and like go pretend to like take care of Cody. And Cody's friend is there, is like, "Is he going to be okay?" And Jean's like, "Oh, he's going to be fine. Just let me hold my hand on his head so that Xavier can use his telepathic powers to get in this dude's brain." Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Jean Grey is child nurse. Like,
it's terrifying.
Yeah, very, very, very strange. He's like playing hitman with his X-Men.
Okay. We finally found it. This is the perfect X-Men. Like, if you want to set up a Hitman game based on the X-Men, I am kind of here for that. Like, you finish the level once and you unlock Wolverine, and you're like, how the fuck am I going to do this? You finish Paris like without getting detected, and you unlock Teenage Cyclops. And like, what? What?
Like, a bunch of kids are doing challenge runs where it's Teenage Cyclops only. There's a TCO run. We call this the door skip. We
call this the not Gene maneuver.
Yeah. So we go back to the house. Rogue is going to Cody's house. That's what she thinks is home.
Yes.
She's in Cody's room. She's very confused and starts thrashing the place.
Yes. And this is where Mystique puts her plan in motion, which is basically to pretend to be the X-Men so that she can scare Rogue into not hanging out with the X-Men. And she starts with Wolverine, who just bursts into the room and just basically starts attacking her. Rogue picks up a random board in Cody's room.
Something, man.
And then Wolverine howls, or I guess Mystique howls like she thinks Wolverine does.
Like a little awoo.
Like, I'm going to be cutting that bad boy into the podcast, man. Like, it's got to go. Like, it has to happen. It's real just like a weird and I'm like, excuse me?
I really love if that's what Mystique thinks Wolverine is. Like, I hate Xavier. He's got all those weird things. The weather lady, the dog boy, a bunch of teens. I don't like any of them.
A girl prettier than any girl that I can turn into, and I'm a shapeshifter. Who's also a nurse somehow. Where did she have time to go to nursing school?
One of the things I like about this, though, because I generally really like this episode, is Mystique is kind of doing like a psyop against, like, she's framing the X-Men.
Yeah, this is good.
Like, this is cool. Like, this is a cool use of Mystique's powers, and she has not really been directly in play yet. Having 2 episodes of her just being like, yes, things are going according to plan, was kind of dumb. And now that she's actually using her extremely good power for recruiting mutants, rather than just being like, I'm evil, join me. Yes. Which is what she was doing before. Like, this actually makes tons of sense.
And it's because, like, we've seen a little bit in her conversation with Destiny of, like, Rogue is important to her, like, in a way that in a way that Toad wasn't. So, like, she's not just going to pretend to be a big scary bad to convince him to do something weird. She's actually, like, taking the time to do the psyop plan. Rogue runs away. Mystique turns into Storm to chase her. Meanwhile, in just a back alley somewhere, Wolverine, Kitty, and Kurt are just looking in trash cans for a teenage girl, which Wolverine... Have you met any teenage girls? Like, what do you think is going on in these back alleys and the trash cans that teenage girls would hang out in?
I don't really understand it either. The Mystique chases Rogue. She's as Storm in order to run to Irene, but Rogue is super confused by this, of course.
Yes.
And then Rogue sees the real Wolverine and is scared, of course, because that's who attacked her. And Kurt says, I'll give it a try.
I love Wolverine's line of, don't mess it up, capiche? And I'm like, what
capiche.
What are you using the word capiche for, Wolverine? Like, what movies are you watching? Are you really that much into The Sopranos right now? Like, turn that fucking shit off.
Like, gabagool, bub.
What, you got no fucking ZD, Kurt Wagner?
So Wolverine says, hey, but actually use your nice face. So he activates his image inducer, and Kurt talks to Rogue and tries to become friends, with her, like attempts to try to recruit her.
And it's working, and probably would be pretty successful, except Wolverine had told Kitty, like, hey, pipsqueak, like, or whatever, some sort of diminutive insult, like, go keep an eye out on Kurt. And she's so insulted by this, she feels like she has to overcompensate by tackling Rogue, which of course puts her in contact with Rogue, which of course has like weird she tackles Rogue and Rogue falls into Kurt's arm, and now Rogue has Kurt powers and can speak German
and deactivates his device.
Yes.
And turns him into a demon, which he gets passed out, and Rogue is scared as hell.
Yes.
And because she's taking his power, she starts teleporting around the graveyard, and this is that scene I mentioned in the first episode. It's very cheap. It's just like little still shots of her like doing poses.
Also
in the graveyard.
Also, yeah, they're in a graveyard for some reason. Yeah, like this came out of fucking nowhere.
Yep, the graveyards of Mississippi. Eventually, she teleports on this bench and breaks it. Kitty's like feels guilty about this. I feel like Kitty was undermotivated in this. It's just a real weird thing because I thought like she tackles her. if Kitty was into Kurt's like coming on to her, this would make sense because maybe she'd be a little jealous too, you know? But as is, I just kind of was like, why is she doing this flying tackle? Like Kitty felt very undermotivated at this point to me.
Oh, I thought it was strictly because Wolverine kind of insulted her a little bit and like kind of.
But the action relation there is real weird. Like Wolverine insulted her and then she's going to tackle Kitty Pryde instead of keeping an eye on him. Like I don't really get the relation between those two actions. I guess
to tackle Rogue, not Kitty Pryde,
or tackle Rogue.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Like it kind of worked for me in like weird cartoon logic, but yeah, it doesn't. But she also like this is going to be the moment where she turns around on Kurt. It's like, oh, I almost killed you. Maybe I should be friendly to you now.
Yeah. That's kind of I guess the idea of what they're trying to do. She's trying to wake Kurt up, and she's worried that he died. She's like, I need to talk to Xavier telepathically to save him. And she does, and I love how when she talks to Xavier, it's like screaming.
Yes,
for some reason, it's like really too loud for Xavier.
Like I don't dial it down, get it, goddamn.
Just say it, don't spray it. Like, boy, no, it's very weird.
I like this because it shows that number one, how irresponsible it is to bring a 15-year-old girl who has had no training on her mutant powers and give her a uniform and like make her a superhero team, but also to have not trained her in any way to communicate with your team leader. Like there's just been no education process at all. Like there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no introductory program to be an X-Man. You're just an X-Man now, and you're on a fucking Blackbird going to Mississippi. Like there's no in between.
Nope, you get nothing. So, at this point, Xavier also, when he's looking for Rogue, he notices that he doesn't find Cody. You know, so it's like, okay, well, it's temporary. You know, it's not something where she keeps the powers permanently. So,
yeah,
which is useful.
Mystique shows up at the graveyard, but before she can talk to Rogue, Jean shows up, and so Mystique hides behind a very tall gravestone. And Jean talks to Rogue and kind of the same way she did with Kitty in the last episode, right? Like you have powers, I have powers. Here's a communicator which you can use to communicate with me at any time. And then as they're standing there, Storm and Cyclops shows up, and of course she's been chased away by somebody that looks like Storm before, so she runs away. And then Cyclops tries to chase her and just falls directly face first into the mud, which is just a weird moment of this for me, and I kind of dig it. Like he just falls.
Men
face
fall
first.
down a lot in this.
Yeah,
like yeah, it's weird. Like, and you know, not saying that in like a Stephen Molyneux way. I'm not complaining about it. I just mean like it's just weird that people just fall. I know it happens in real life, but it usually happens for plot reasons in fiction. You know, here it just kind of falls.
Yeah, I figured I figured we'd get like a joke out of Jean for this to show like a I thought you were cute, but you know you're just as goofy as ever, Scott Summers or something like that, to kind of show like they were forming a little bit more of a relationship than they've had before, besides just yelling at each other for being in the bathroom too long. But no, he just falls down and like gets up and then just like moves along.
Well, that was weird, and then stands up. Yeah, very weird. Kitty's still trying to get Kurt to wake up, and this music, you know, again, you haven't noticed it sounds like Don Henley, and like the music is real weird in the background. But I want to skip past that to my favorite part of this episode, where Rogue is in a mausoleum, and Mystique turns into Cyclops to chase him, and is just walking in this mausoleum, just fucking owning urns full of ashes. Like just knocking down every grandma that he can see, from Grandma A to Grandma Z. Like, just like knocking over all these vases, and I love it so much. It's very funny to me.
It's extremely funny. Yeah, it's just knocking them over. Like it could not be any more disrespectful if you could have tried. Mystique is obviously acting aggro with Cyclops, and Rogue runs away into the real Cyclops, and then she pushes him down, and this is Cyclops' number one weakness, is to be pushed down because his glasses come loose, and he shoots a fucking power line tower or some shit. And then she teleports away, but she teleports herself into the sky, and she can't, and she's falling, and she has to like teleport down to the ground real quick, and she still lands pretty hard because she doesn't really know how to teleport.
Yep. Storm shows up at this point, reaches out for Rogue, and Rogue absorbs her powers, which this isn't great. Starts losing control and destroying the place. Like, you know, Storm is the one you don't want to have, you know, an uncontrolled person using their powers.
Yes.
A power line is going to fall in the water where Storm is lying after she gets knocked out. Jean and Cyclops go to save her. Rogue eventually teleports away, and the sky's clear. Like, you can just tell she's absolutely out of her mind. Like she has all these different overlapping personalities. It's a real bad day.
Yeah,
for her.
And I think well represented as well. Like if you dropped all this shit onto a teenage girl with no context, like she would freak out a little bit. Like that she has no idea what's going on, and it even seems I'm not gonna say scary, but like I can imagine watching this as a teenager and being like, oh shit, like that's not a good situation for Rogue to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So the rest of the team shows up. And Xavier at this point kind of puts it together, like maybe somebody else is chasing Rogue. I don't know why he doesn't use his mind powers, but he kind of figures out, and Wolverine smells Mystique.
Motherfucker, you have Cerebro. Like you picked up a 15-year-old girl's dreams. Like you can't find out about Mystique. Like please,
you couldn't have put on this helmet and just did this all remotely. This whole thing.
Yeah,
you got a fucking helmet that does this work. Dude.
Where's the team viewer for fucking?
Yeah. I can't determine her age. Her birth certificate is inaccurate. I can't find the right setting. Yeah. So Kurt wakes up, and Kitty's very happy about that. She hugs Kurt. This is where they start making friends, and Scott looks over and is like, "Nice, bro."
Is that what he says? Like he said, like it's a weird moment because he like mouths something to him, and I could not tell what the fuck it was.
Animation never does that for a good reason.
Yeah, nobody wants to read an animation's lips like that. That doesn't. Yeah. It's not.
They don't actually have lips. It's just kind of this weird open mouth thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got the vibe of like, yeah, but not. I don't know what he says exactly.
Second base, bro.
Yeah, second base, bros. Hey, buddy. We go back to Cody. Cody's okay for all those Cody stands out there.
Yep.
Just so you know that he's doing all right.
He's not possessed by a weird alien hell-bent on taking over the X-Men, stealing their powers and giving them pregnant. So,
oh yeah.
Oh man, old Cody, huh?
Yeah, love it. And then we go back to Mystique as the principal welcoming Rogue to school, and Magneto appears again, playing with some paper clips, and says it's good that we recruited her. She'll be a great addition to the team.
Nothing spookier than a handful of paper clips, just,
Yep.
just circling around each
If I were
other.
Magneto, that's all I would do. Like, everything metal around me would be fidgeted with. The entire world would be my fidget spinner.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was Magneto.
Yeah. It's that scene out of, I think it's the first X-Men where he's got the inertia balls or whatever going. Yeah, that's all badass.
I'd be constantly be doing that.
Yeah, these two episodes are good. Like it's obviously slower paced. Like we're not fighting any villains. Sentinels have not attacked in the first two episodes or anything like that. Like we're slowly but surely introducing the cast and like the powers and like the people of what we're going to be doing. So it definitely feels slower paced. But like especially this Rogue episode, I think is pretty solid. Like this is a good episode. I think our budget problems are still here and our music is all over the place. But yeah, I think this is a good one.
The biggest problem I have with it is the not having the context of it.
Yeah.
Like it's just the it's the fact that like in the micro what's happening is cool in this episode, but not knowing or in the micro, but not knowing the macro stakes or not really understanding having anything established. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I can presume that Xavier's motivation is just to save kids and train them. I don't know what Magneto is doing.
I mean, at this point, Xavier's just collecting kids. I don't think there's any training involved whatsoever. He's just, yeah. These are just all Pokemon for Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Any last thoughts, or you want to do the admin GTFO?
No, I think I'm good. Like I like this episode. I'm looking forward to more. I really want the show to get a direction. Mm-hmm. But I like these episodes, and it does make me want to watch more. I don't want to see their interpretations of some of these characters. What's Quicksilver going to be like in this show? Like things like that. Like characters with strong personalities, I want to see how they come over.
Maybe you'll be interested in Blob, or a character they created specifically for the show called Spike. Because that's the next two episodes we're gonna be covering.
Yeah. The Spike is weird, who shows up in X3, X-Men United, and a character kind of based on him is in X-Statix, making it kind of the second adaptation X-Statix thing after Zeitgeist shows up in Deadpool 2.
Weird.
Yeah.
If you like this podcast, you can support it in a variety of ways. The biggest of which is probably just to tell your X-Men friends about it and kind of spread the word. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcast or Google Play or Stitcher or any of the other various podcast services that that you use. And you can also support the show directly by going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and donating some dollars to the network. It supports me and Gary. It supports mostly Gary, but it supports me and Gary and all of the...
Good thing to make that clear.
Yeah. Gary withholds wages from me, is all I'm saying. No. But it supports the network and allows us to do all kinds of crazy cool podcasts, and you get a lot of cool benefits out of it. You get access to the Slack channel. You get access to episodes early. Just all kinds of cool stuff. The Slack channel, or the Slack server, I guess I should say, is crazy big nowadays. Like every time I log into the new channel, the new people channel, there's like 10 or 15 new folks that I've never seen before. So it's growing like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. It's good. Like the new people are nice. Like come join us.
Yeah,
it's a good fun time.
Do not be afraid to talk either. Come in and tell us all about your opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. We really do appreciate it. And welcome. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for another 2 episodes of X-Men Evolution.
And until then, stay happy, everybody.
Good night.